Hey, loser!
What is up, guys? And I want to welcome each and every one of you back to a new video. I'm Reese Gaming, and in this one we're going to be talking through the finally revealed core set 2021. So, in case you don't know what's going on, very soon the basic and classic set will be moving out of standard and going into wild under the name of the legacy set. In replace of that, we're getting a new core set in standard, and obviously the core set is going to be, there's going to be some new cards, there's going to be some returning cards from wild, there's going to be some card changes, and all of that has been revealed today. So what we're going to do is break them all down and just highlight some of the new stuff and maybe some of the change stuff, and have a little talk about where some of those cards might see play in wild or whether they won't at all. Alright, so this is a complete hot take. I've only really seen these cards very quickly. I know there's a few new cards as I've had a quick scroll through, and I think cards are literally being put onto the site as we speak, which is very exciting. So we are just going to jump straight in with Corvus Bloodthorn, obviously one of the newer cards here. So 2 mana 2/2 with charge and lifesteal. Obviously charge, even just rush and lifesteal is powerful, so having charge as well, I think this is going to be a crazy card. Let's carry on reading. After you play a card with Outcast, return it to your hand. Okay, so firstly, I love the sort of flavour of this. It's a 2 mana 2/2, rushes face. You get a little bit of that life back. You play an Outcast card. A lot of the Outcast cards are really cheap, especially like Eladari Studies, for example. It's going to bounce it back to your hand, and you're going to be able to play that again. I'll be honest with you, I don't think this is very good. It's probably, for an effect like this, I think it's a bit overstated. If you really want an effect like this, you probably just want to play Penflinger. I don't know, I feel like I get those sort of like head crack vibes from Rogue, and has head crack ever really seen play? Not really. But in terms of the flavour of the card, I love it, but just won't see play in wild. Then we've got Eladari Inquisitor. That's a new card here. It's an 8 mana 8/8 for Demon Hunter again. This time it's got Rush, which is obviously a very, very cool effect. After your hero attacks an enemy, this attacks it too. So I quite like this. I think it really combos with the 1 mana hero power very well. It's another one of those big Demon Hunter cards that I really hope we'll see play, but it's probably a little bit too slow. What you can do though is like play this, attack into something, and then hero power the enemy face, and it will also attack the face, which is really cool. And what the Demon Hunter's got a lot of these big creatures and big minions, and unfortunately I just don't think it's really got the support to cheat out these big things just like Warlock has, for example. So it's another card that I think has huge potential, but I just don't think it's quite ready to see play wild. And then the last card for Demon Hunter that's sort of new or been changed is this 3 mana 3/2 Ganarg Glavesmith, and it has Outcast. Give your hero +3 attack this turn. So obviously I automatically think of Odd Demon Hunter. I would say Odd Demon Hunter arguably is the best archetype you can build for Demon Hunter, and I think this goes straight into it. I know Odd Demon Hunter right now is definitely, we've brought that curve right down due to Stilt Stepper, and I think it's called Acrobatics or something like that. But I can see Ganarg Glavesmith almost changing that list a little bit. Maybe you drop the weapon. Obviously, the weapon's in there for an AoE, but you can also potentially just put this in for more face damage, which the deck wants to do. Yeah, I honestly think Ganarg Glavesmith is ideal for that list, and I could honestly see it seeing play. Alright, we're going to move on to Druid, our second class here. Let's start with Cenarius. Cenarius is obviously getting a little buff here from 9 mana to 8 mana, keeping exactly the same stats and exactly the same abilities. I'm just going to straight up say this, a little bit blunt. I still think it's too slow for wild, and unfortunately, it won't see play. Another small change here to a card. This time, Mark of the Wild. It used to be a 2 mana spell that gave +2/+2. It's now, keeps the same cost, but gives +2/+3. I don't think this is enough of a buff to make this card see play. Here's our first new card for Druid. This time it's a 4 mana 3/5 minion with Battle Cry. The next spell you cast this turn costs 3 less, and that's obviously Nordrassil Druid. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news again. This unfortunately will probably not see play in wild. If you really want to just cheat spells out, there's better ways to do it with Nature Projects, Innovates, Lightning Blooms. There's plenty of other ways to cheat mana, and unfortunately I just don't think this is really the way to do it. Okay, so we've actually got 2 changes coming up here in the next 2 cards. Firstly, let's start with Druid of the Claw. It used to be a 5 mana 4/4. It used to have 2 choices between Charge and Taunt. Now it's been changed. I'm not too sure whether to call it a buff or a nerf, but the stats are now 5 mana 5/4. You get that choice of Rush for an extra attack, or you get a bigger Taunt with 5/6, rather than what I believe was a 4/6. So, obviously, I would say still, this card is kind of weak in wild, but if you really want to push the boat out and go for that sort of fringe Beast Druid, I mean, this is always one, like when I build Beast Druid, it's always a card I fall back on for a good, like, decent taunt or a decent, used to be face damage, but now with rush. So Druid of Claw might still see play in those aggro sort of fringe Beast Druid builds. So I don't really want to, you know, put a line under it yet, but I'd still say Druid of Claw kind of weak. Alright, now let's quickly talk about Menagerie Warden. So, Menagerie Warden has been buffed from its original 6 mana 5/5 state. It's now a 5 mana 4/4. So, firstly, I think Menagerie Warden is the keystone to those aggro, you know, beast druids that we spoke about. And I think its power before came from copying those powerful 5-drop beasts, like whether it is Druid of the Claw or even Stranglethorn Tiger if you're really living the meme. But you know, with it being 5 mana 4/4, your choice of beasts are a little less. You have got the 4 mana Inspire guy that, you know, when you hero power makes, you get that extra attack on 4. So that could be quite good. So, you know, there is a little bit of potential there. But in terms of 4 mana beasts, you haven't really got a lot. Maybe you can go with like Circus Amalgam or something like that. But in terms of your heavy statted 4-drop beasts, not really a lot you can do. So I do think Menagerie Warden, although it is a buff, although it is a nerf, although it is a buff, bear with me, I do think it might be for the worst because of that sort of curve thing that we spoke about. Alright, so we are going to be moving on to Hunter now, and I just want to start by saying King Crush, he's still here, one of the only cards in the game left with charge, and I just want to say thank you, King Crush. But anyway, Lock and Load. So Lock and Load goes from 2 mana to 1 mana. Firstly, I just want to say that Lock and Load could be up there with one of my favourite cards of all time. I know it is low-key terrible, but the fact, I don't know, I just loved the sort of all-in potential you could do with like Cloaked Huntress and all your cheap secrets. Lock and Load is now 1, so we are going to be bringing back that Yogg and Load Hunter, and I can't wait to play it. But yeah, 1 mana doesn't really change the card. It's still bad, but fun. More fun, which is good. Alright, so this is actually a kind of a big change for Tracking. So Tracking obviously keeping its mana cost, but it now discovers a card rather than look at 3 cards, discard the others, which I always thought was kind of stupid. Although you could say it was like deck thinning, but you know, when you had like some of your like 3 best build around cards in your deck and you had to get rid of 2, it was kind of BS. So with Tracking being Discover, I genuinely think that's an awesome change for Tracking, and it gives Hunter a little bit more. I don't know, it just feels like Hunter's finally got some love in. So yeah, Tracking, although it's a very, very tiny change, I do think it is 100% for the better. So yeah, really, really happy with the change to Tracking. Okay, so we've got Selective Breeder next. It's a 2 mana 1/1, no tag, with Battlecry. Discover a copy of a beast in your deck. Firstly, I love this. It's a Shadow Vision sort of style card text. And I'll be honest with you, I have no idea how to sort of review this. Now, it could either go in a sort of more mid-range aggro style, but that kind of messes up the Master's Call, card draw. You know, you need all your minions to be beasts for that to go off consistently. Or it goes in a sort of heavy OTK with King Crush and Lorax. But, you know, that's meme level 9,000. So I can't really see how to sort of review this. It might go like an Arena Hunter. Maybe you're trying to copy some of your more bigger, like Savannah High mains, you know, Rhinos, even the 6 mana Spider, Web something. You know, there is definitely options for it, but I just can't see it really seeing playing wild. Alright, we're going to move on to Mage now, and I'm really excited about this brand new card. So we've got a brand new legendary called Agewind the Guardian. 5 mana 5/5. Spell damage +2. Death Rattle, the next minion you draw inherits these powers. So, obviously, it's an effect we've not really seen before in Hearthstone. Arguably, Greybow from Druid has kind of had this effect. But let me explain what I assume is going to happen. So, your player, she's spell damage +2. Obviously, all your spells are going to do more damage. And when she dies, I assume the spell damage and the Death Rattle will sort of fizzle off into your deck. And the next minion you draw will also have spell damage +2. And the Death Rattle, and then when that dies, it will fizzle again. That's what I assume is going to happen. That's really powerful for what I assume the classic and basic set. With them gone, I assume the core set would be a little bit more basic, but this is quite an over the top effect, which I'm really excited about. In terms of decks, though, I actually think this could be good enough to spark some sort of tempo mage, more minion based with Book of Spectres, for example. I don't think Quest Mage is really running this, but Reno Mage, seriously, I reckon they're going to love this, especially Lunar Pocket Galaxy, with all your minions costing 1, and, you know, that, I think that's really powerful. So, yeah, Age Win for me, I think is a really good card. I think we'll definitely see play. Alright, and now we're going to do these next cards very quickly, because they're all just sort of number changes. So we have Caldara Drake making a return, but this time it's being buffed to a 6/7, same effect, and does not affect even mage, so that's probably a good change. Flame Strike, instead of dealing 4 to all, does 5 to all, so I think obviously a really good change to the card. Let's keep moving through. Snap Freeze, pretty sure is going down to 1, probably not good enough to put in your deck, but obviously a massive buff to anything like Quest Mage with a cheaper spell, so really good. We'll come back to Archaeologist. Ethereal Conjurer, obviously going up from 6/3 to 6/4. Obviously a good change to the card, but it does not affect Wild. But yeah, obviously Archaeologist has had a little bit of a wording change. Instead of Battle Cry, draw a secret from your deck, it's now draw a secret. So it's just probably just to add a little bit of a competitive spark to Secret Mage. Obviously that deck is completely not a brain dead. You don't need any singular brain cell in your brain to make that deck work. So just having a slightly more difficult text to read is really going to like shift that deck from being brain dead to slightly resident sleeper, which I think is a great change to the deck. Alright, so we're now going to move on to Paladin, and there is a couple of new cards here, and there's also been a lot of number changes and word changes as well on some of these cards, so we're going to get into all of that now. So let's firstly start with a brand new secret for Paladin, and that is Reckoning. So Reckoning is an epic secret, and it says after an enemy minion deals 3 or more damage, destroy it. So I'll be honest with you, my brain is confused, it often is. But I'm not too sure how to sort of review this one. It says after an enemy minion deals 3 or more. Does that mean combat damage, or does that mean sort of like battle cry damage? Like, would this kill Medivh's Valet, for example? Not entirely sure. We'll have to give that one a test when it's in our hands. I kind of think it does kill Medivh's Valet, which if it does, this is probably good enough just to run in... you know, to stop any sort of secret stuff. But yeah, Reckoning's kind of a very fringe secret, and very specific to certain archetypes. But yeah, I don't think it's actually too bad at all. So yeah, maybe. Okay, we've got another Paladin epic here. This time it's a spell. It's 2 mana, and it gives +1 attack to Silverhand recruits you summon this game, Pursuit of Justice. So firstly, I love this card. You can play the 2 mana straight up. You can play it later on. You can do it whenever you want, and it's going to give your Silverhand recruits +1 attack for the rest of the game. Yeah, this is exactly what any sort of Silverhand recruit Paladins wanted. If this was odd, oh my, it would be low-key busted, but luckily it's not, and I actually think it's a good enough card to spark even Paladin. This deck's been so nearly ready to go, and it's just never had the tools, but this might seriously be exactly what the deck needed. You know, 1 mana hero power to make a 2/1 Silverhand recruit. That's pretty good. So Pursuit of Justice, I'm really excited about. Alright, and we'll very quickly run through some of these card changes. So, Holy Light going from 6 up to 8. My brain was actually lagging. Equality, this is what I want to just talk about a little longer. Obviously, it used to be 2. It got nerfed massively to 4, and now it's getting buffed to 3. I will be honest with you, I'm actually kind of scared with this being at 3. I think this might be good enough for our Paladin to run. I think it's a one-of, and I think it's... like, let's say I'm running Dark Glare Warlock, and my opponent equalities my board, and he just trades all his 1/1s into my board. It's going to be such a feels bad. Basically, it's like a board clear for an aggro deck, so they don't really want them, but it's definitely there if they need it. So yeah, being at 3 mana for Odd Paladin is scary, but in terms of Paladin in general, it's a really good change. So yeah, I'm kind of a fan of that. Okay, Guardian of Kings, exactly the same, but this time it's got Taunt. It's cool for standard maybe, but Wild, nope. All this is the same. Argent Protector going is becoming a 3/2 instead of a 2/2. Odd Paladin's getting a buff here. Warhorse going up to 3 attack rather than 2/4. So that's kind of worrying. Alright, we're going to move on to Priest. Now, obviously, Priest over the years has had a little bit of what they've been calling sort of an identity crisis or whatever. They don't really know what to do with Priest, and I think they've made some really cool changes here, and there's some new, really cool new stuff as well. So, like I said before, we're going to start with the new cards and then go over any card changes after. So we are going to start firstly with Crimson Clergy on the right-hand side here, a 1-mana 1/3. After a friendly character is healed, gain +1 attack. So, obviously I've been playing Hearthstone basically since the start, and we've always laughed at the idea of an aggro Priest. This might be good enough to maybe give that deck a little kick. With Light Spawn, I think is what it's called, the 1-mana neutral. With those two cards, both buffing off things being healed, it might actually be good enough. But I don't know when else you'd really run this, but it's kind of scary. It's another 1-mana 1/3. Obviously very powerful 1-drop. It's Mana Worm stats. So Crimson Clergy is good, but I don't know where it's going to really see play in Wild. Alright, we've got another new card here. This time Focus Will is right above me here. It's a 1-mana spell. It says silence a minion, then give it +3 health. So obviously, straight up, there's two ways you can play this card. You can play it on enemy minion, maybe to clear a taunt or whatever. Or you could use it on your own minions and give it +3 health. Now, some of you might be confused why you'd want to use it on your own minions, but Silence Priest in the past has actually been a competitive deck. It was played in like some of the grand tournaments, but that was in standard, not in Wild. But you know, buffing your can't attack minions so that they're attackable. You know, usually these can't attack minions are very overstated for their costs anyway. Yeah, it might be okay, but yeah, it's kind of, I don't think it's really that good. But I think for standard they're gonna love this, but Wild, not really. Okay, and our last brand new card for Priest is right above me again. We've got Shadowed Spirit. It's a 3-mana 4/3 minion, and it has Death Rattle, deal 3 damage to the enemy hero. Now, I don't know whether they sort of slipped, tripped, and put this in the wrong class. I don't really know what's going on, but if this is their way of pushing Shadow form, Priest, whatever, I'm okay with that. I think, you know, it's a very aggressive static minion with a very aggressive Death Rattle, so I'm quite excited to give this one a go. I know a friend of mine who he built a Xerix cloning gallery meme OTK list. It basically pulls out like Leper Gnome, Backstreet Leper, and Sandstorm, whatever it's called, alongside like Abomination, and somehow you triggered the Death Rattle and all these things were flying to the face. So he's going to be happy with that. But yeah, in terms of, you know, with memes aside, yeah, actually, you know what? Let's rewind. I think Shadowed Spirit is being pushed along to the meme side. I can't really see it. Seeing play. Alright, let's do a very quick rewind right to the top again. Let's go through some of these number and word changes. So, Shadow Form is being changed from 3 mana to 2 mana. But, you know, it keeps its effect. But this time, we can't actually play another Shadow Form to upgrade that hero power. So, to me, I think it's actually a nerf, I would say, in my eyes. I think sometimes with Shadow Form, back when I played it in Standard, is, you know, paying that extra mana to get a better hero power was kind of like the point of the card. I think now, with it being stuck at 2, I can't really see it in play. I'm going to carry on through. All of these are the same. Light Spawn being buffed from 4 mana 4/4 to 3 mana is obviously quite a nice change for the card. I think Standard are going to love that one as well. Another great tempo card. And I think that's it. No, Temple Enforcer is going down to 5 from 6. That's another really nice change for the card. But none of these are particularly standing out to me as being good changes for the Wild format. But, you know, good changes all round to the cards. Alright, and now we're into Rogue, which obviously everyone knows is my favourite class. So, yeah, we've got some cool stuff here. We're going to start with Vanessa Van Cleef. So, no idea who she is. I've heard she might be the daughter of Edwin. Don't know whether that's true or not. Might have made that up. But she's a 2-mana 2/3 minion for Rogue. And she has combo, of course. Add a copy of the last card your opponent played to your hand. So, firstly, I just want to say it's kind of weak. There's times when this could be really strong. If we sort of find ourselves in a very combo-heavy meta, I guess we kind of are in that now. And, you know, you really want to grab that specific card, then yeah, it's good. But I don't know, I can't really see that. I think good players will play around it if she really becomes dominant in the meta. But if you know, I think other than that, it's not really going to see play. Okay, and that's actually it for new cards for Rogue. I actually thought there was another one, but it's just card changes. So, Prep staying the same, unfortunately. I was hoping that would be 3 or less again, but it obviously wasn't. Patient Assassin is going up from 1/1 to 1/2. kind of a pointless change in my opinion, because it's why do you need it to stick around? Are we trying to poison 1/1s? It seems really weird to me, but whatever. Assassin's Blade going down from 5. It used to be a 5 mana 3/4, now it's a 4 mana 2/5. So I'd say it's a buff to the card, but it is too slow for Wild. Like, if you're running weapons, you're running Kingsbane. 6 mana to draw 4 on Sprint, up obviously down from 7. Obviously, it needed a buff. It was too slow before, but unfortunately, I think it's just 5 mana too expensive for Wild. No, I'm joking, but, you know, why do we need to run that when we have Secret Passage? You know, that's my point. And I believe, Assassinate, obviously, was one of the first cards revealed, down to, from 5 down to 4. Actually, I think a potentially slower Rogue, maybe Mill Rogue, might actually run this. You know, we're running Vile Spine, and that takes, you know, 2 things to get off. So maybe Assassinate actually does see playing Mill Rogue, for example. Definitely something I'm going to play with. Yeah, and that's it for Rogues. Let's move on to the next class. Alright, so Shaman's actually only getting 1 new card, and that card is Novice Zapper. It was revealed a long time ago anyway, but we're going to talk very quickly through it. Firstly, 1 mana 3/2, Novice Zapper, spell damage +1, and overload 1. So, obviously, it really does show those Shaman flavours. But let's talk about it in Wild very quickly. So, I actually think this card's really good. So, Aggro Shaman is actually, like, it's got some really strong minions for their cost. Tunnel Trog, Totem Golem. Like, this Novice Zapper, for me, goes straight in those decks. I think a lot of these Aggro Shaman builds run a lot of burn spells anyway, so having that spell damage, to me, is just another cherry on the cake, whatever you want to call it. So, yeah, I think Novice Zapper is really good. For me, when I build Aggro Shaman, I usually run Spirit of the Frog and a lot of like cheap spells and sort of ramp my way through. So I think Novice Zapper, like I said again, falls perfectly into that list. And yeah, I'm really excited to give Novice Zapper a go when it's revealed. I should very quickly, very quickly, talk about Strength Totem. If you guys don't know yet, the Shaman Hero Power, the Totem Pool is being changed. We're actually losing the Spell Damage Totem. And they're replacing it with the Strength Totem. Their ideas and their thought process was that they wanted those totems when they were all on the board together to sort of all bounce off each other and affect, you know, like feel like they're almost like a gang or whatever you are. I don't know, that was a horrible analogy, but you know what I mean. So, you know, I think the Helium Totem alongside Strength Totem, even the 1/1 and the Taunt, you know, when they're all out, they're actually going to feel really strong. Whereas I felt like they were saying the spell power before was more of a high roll and didn't really synergize with the other totems. So it's a cool change, but obviously losing that spell damage totem is kind of a little bit of a yeah, it's a little bit, it does hurt Shaman a little bit, but I think it's a really good change in general. Okay, and let's run through all the numbers / word changes for Shaman. There is quite a few of them, and it's seriously going to test my Hearthstone knowledge because, yeah, remembering how much things are overloaded for is going to hurt my brain. But Alakir is back. He's getting an extra health up from 5, I think. Doomhammer staying the same. Earth Elemental is getting Overload 2 rather than Overload 3, which I think is a very nice change. Feral Spirit, Overload going down to Overload 1 from Overload 2. I think Feral Spirit's actually going to be really powerful in that state. Let's keep going. Lightning Storm is 3 mana to deal 3 to all, which I think, rather than 2 or 3, which I think is a really nice change, especially with the fact they're changing the hero pool, like I said earlier on. This all looks the same to me, and yeah, oh no, Fire Elemental is now dealing 4 rather than 3, which I think is a really nice change for Standard. Maybe for Wild it might spark like an Elemental Shaman, but can't really see that happening. But very quickly, I want to talk about the excitement to me behind Lightning Bolt getting that nature tag. We kind of expected it, but for me that means that Crackle's also going to get the nature tag. And if you haven't seen some of the cards revealed for the brand new set in the Barons, we've got a new Shaman Legendary that gives spell damage +3 to nature spells. So if Lightning Bolt and Crackle are getting spell damage +3, Shaman is getting a huge buff. But yeah, let's not go into that. We'll talk about that another day. But that is all the changes to Shaman. Let's keep moving. Alright, let's get on to Warlock. Now, Warlock have got some really nice cards and some really nice changes as well coming up in this core set. And let's start with the new stuff first. So, Fell Soul Jailer is the first new card. It's a 5 mana 4/6 demon. When you play it, your opponent discards they discard a minion, and when they kill it, they get it back. So Yeah, it's a really nice demon. It's a really nice sort of discard mechanic. I think it's one of the first times we really see, discard from your opponent. We've obviously seen it with Dirty Rat before, and I think it's a really nice sort of like anti-combo tech card. It will probably be good enough just to run in Reno Lock, but other than that, I can't really see it seeing play. But I love the idea of using like cards like this against those really aggressive control decks and combo decks. So just having it in the game is obviously going to benefit Warlock in the long run. Okay, we've got another new card for Warlock, and this one's really interesting, and I really want to throw some ideas out there. So, 0 mana, Ritual of Doom. So you destroy a friendly minion. It says if you still have 5 or more, summon a 5/5 demon. So, I have an idea. It could be good in Dark Glare Warlock. We have these Cobalt Librarians and Tour Guides that a lot of us are Mortal Coiling to get in our pool so we can raise dead. Ritual of Doom might just be better than Mortal Coil. Yeah, you don't get a card, but you have that potential of making a 5/5. So I think that's kind of good. I think a 0 mana spell that fills your raised dead pool up in those Dark Glare Warlocks, it could be really good. Other than that, it's just really good in like aggro Warlock, any sort of Zoo Warlock. I don't think you run it in discard, but it's an interesting one to have. Also, just like Q-Block. I don't know whether you're running the Recruit dude anymore, but it's really good on Void Caller on 4 to get a big demon in your hand. Yeah, it's another really scary card. It's probably really good, honestly. I didn't even think about Q-Block, and just till then my brain just gave it to me. But yeah, this could actually be really good. Okay, Ritual of Doom could be scary. Okay, and our last new card for Warlock is the Enslaved Fell Lord. It's a 7 mana 4/10 demon with Taunt. And it also damages the minions next to whomever this attacks. So basically, it's got Cleave. They haven't added Cleave as a keyword yet, but it needs to happen. It's a really nice card. It's one of those, like, it's another demon, and we need to stop. It's a very expensive demon, but, we really, really need high-value demons to pull off, Void Callers and the Cube. This actually might be good enough. The fact it's got Cleave is really good against aggro, but what else is it really good against? It might be good enough just generally to play in like Reno Lock again, like I said, but I'm really struggling to find where this would see play. But honestly, I mean this when I say this, I think this is one of the coolest cards they printed in a long time. I love the Cleave effect. The art looks awesome. Yeah, that's not a good enough reason to say it's good, but a 7 mana 4/10, it's really big. It's sticking around. I'm intrigued to see where we can play this going forward. Alright, and we're going to go into Warrior, starting with our first new card, and that is War Cache. It's a 3 mana warrior spell, and you add a random warrior minion, spell, and weapon to your hand. So it's very similar to Hunter's Pack, the Hunter spell in the past. Now, Hunter's Pack in the past never really saw play, and I feel like War Cache is going to have exactly the same thing. So it's a little too pricey to kind of have the potential of doing nothing. So cards like this don't really work in Wild, but love the art, love all that. It's just probably not good enough. Okay, another new card here for Warrior, and this one I think is really, really good. Right above me, Blood Sail Deckhand, a 1 mana 2/1 pirate with the battle cry. The next weapon you play cost 1 less. So it's whenever the next weapon you play, not the next weapon you play this turn. So this has an ongoing effect. 3 mana weapons, let's think about those. So most notably, we've got the live wire thing that gets lackeys. We've got Fiery War Axe, but most notably we've got Anchor. And I think having Anchor down on 2 to get that ball rolling is very, very powerful. So yeah, I really do think Bloodsail Deckhand will 100% see play in Wild. Having that down on 1 into those high roll 3-drop weapons. It's going to be so good. So yeah, Bloodsail Deckhand, very good pirate, and 100% see play in Pirate Warrior, I think. Alright, and our last new card for Warrior is the Warsong Outrider. It's a 4 mana 5/4 rush, and that's kind of it. It's not really a lot going for it. I think if you want to run a 4 mana rush in Wild, you're probably not going to go for this. You're probably going to go for something like Restless Mummy, for example. So yeah, to me, short and sweet. I just don't think Warsong Outrider is really anything us Wild players are excited about. Alright, we've actually only got one sort of card change for Warrior. And it's a big one. It's Warsong Commander. I never thought I'd be saying those words out loud, so I don't really know what to do. I'm kind of feel like I'm about to go into a fit, but it's a change, but it's not really what we asked for. I don't want to be sort of, you know, I don't want to sound like a kid throwing the toys out the pram, but it now reads, after you summon another minion, give it rush. So, let's just talk about Patron Warrior, which has been where this card has seen play in the past. It used to read pre-nerf, after you summon another minion, give it charge, which is obviously, you know, charge is a very, very powerful and uninteractive keyword. We've learned that over the years. But now, Grim Patron is kind of back in a form. So what we need is Frothing Berserker to stick on a board. And then you go Warsong Commander and you go into Grim Patron and you infinitely trade. And, you know, all those things and Whirlwind and Death Spite. And, you know, that is back, but like I've said before, I don't think it's ever Warsong Commander or Grim Patron that were the broken ones. It was Frothing Berserker. You know, giving Frothing Berserker charge was the problem. So, yeah, it's a really nice change to the card. It does really, you know, bring up some new archetypes of Warrior, especially in Standard. But it's going to be really interesting to see whether Warsong Commander, with its change, is good enough to spark some of the more powerful combos Warrior has had in the past. Alright, so we're on to neutrals. We're gonna go sort of like the main notable new cards, and then I might just like flick through very quickly and they can make any changes. But we do have two new legendaries here, back to back, so we'll do these together. We've got Overlord Runthak, which is a 5 mana 3/6 rush, and whenever it attacks, give +1/+1 to all minions in hand. So obviously it's a hand buff card. Most notably, we've had hand buff Paladin in the past do really well, especially in Wild as well. We've had like mech hand buff, but I think, you know, more recently with the like animated broomstick, we're kind of steering away from the mechs and going more board presence. So I think Overlord Runthak is going to be exactly what that deck needs to like spark something new, which I'm really excited about. And let's keep going anyway. We've got Talon Forging here, 5 mana 3/3 with Taunt and Divine Shield, Death Rattle, draw your highest cost minion. So it's another weird card that I can't really think about where we're going to need this, but I'm thinking maybe like Mechathune, Warlock, like drawing Mechathune. I know we kind of use Hammer to destroy a deck, but that was maybe like an example. Anything like maybe even like Yogg decks, like drawing Yogg. I know that's a kind of meme. I play a lot of meme decks on ladder, so I can never stop thinking about Yogg. He's my life. But yeah, Talon Forging has got a very interesting sort of ability on him. But I'm worried that because of his Death Rattle, you can't really use him as a build around, because if he gets, you know, silenced or removed or polymorphed or, you know, psychic screened, it kind of messes that up. So it is an interesting one, but it's certainly very cool. Okay, we've got the new dragons, which I'm so excited about. This first one is just making me laugh. I love it. We got Nosdormu getting a sort of revamp here. So just to clarify, these obviously are brand new for the core set, and they're not replacing the old ones. So we can run both Nosdormus if you really wanted, but can't see why you do that. But this Nosdormu is awesome. So start of the game, if this is in both players' decks, turns are only 15 seconds long. So I'm loving the fact that I can just put this in my deck, ask my friend to put it in his deck, and we basically play like, you know, super speed Hearthstone. Like, what do they call it in chess? You know, like, I think it's got like bullet or something. Yeah, so that's kind of fun. Don't think, you know, I run this in a competitive deck, but the fact it's in the game for friendlies and casuals, it's fun. It's really fun. Let's keep moving though. We've got Alex Straza next. Alex has got a really, really cool battle cry that I'm 100% excited to test. So it's 9 mana 8/8 as well. It says choose a character. If it's friendly, you restore 8, or if it's an enemy, deal 8. So you can point at yourself, restore 8, and then you can point at enemy and deal 8. It has that kind of has that old flavour, because, you know, Alex in the past has been able to, like, you know, heal 15 or whatever, and also been able to set health to 15. So yeah, I kind of like that it's got that old flavour. And I feel like anything like Reno Mage, I always think of Reno Mage because they more typically run the Dragon package. But, you know, having, if you're running Reno and you're running Alex at the top end, you definitely want something like, if you're running, you know, Reno decks with the other Alex, the no duplicate Alex, you're definitely going to want to run this Alex as well. So double Alex in those as well seems cool. We've got a Malagos, you know, new Malagos as well. Same stats as the original. But this time you battle cry, you draw spells until your hand is full. So yeah, this is exciting. I think it's a really good, really nice change to Malagos. So it says draw spells as your hand is full. I read it first and thought it was just you get your hand like a handful of random spells, and I was like, that's kind of weird for a legendary. But no, you actually draw cards from your deck. So if you're running a very minimal amount of spells, I'm in my top of my head thinking Lunar Pocket Galaxy. You know, you're going to only draw the spells that you put in your deck, which is really powerful. So, like, if you play this on 9, you haven't drew Lunar Pocket Galaxy yet, you're guaranteed to draw that. Or, you know, if you're playing a, like, you know, slower list for Mage and you need your Ice Block, you're guaranteed to draw that. So, yeah, Malygos is really powerful. And like I said, again, going off the no duplicate Alex, if you get this off her, you're going to, yeah, it's going to be amazing. Yeah, it's going to be really good. Alright, going on to Onyxia, who before was the token maker. Yeah, she's basically got the same ability, but instead of just battle cry, fill your board, it's going to be at the end of each turn. So, yeah, she's not dealt with. It's going to be a massive problem, but I can't really see her seeing play, but it's another one of those just like, if you get it off no dupe Alex, you're just going to love your life. But I like the fact it's at the end of each turn. It's kind of similar to, I can't remember what it was called. It was like a big... It was from one of the past sets that made loads of 1/1s, but I can't remember if that was end of each turn or end of your turn. So it's actually, Onyxia's really good. Alright, then we've got Ysera as well. Add one of each dream card to your hand. I'm not going to go through the changes to the dream cards in this video, because this video is really long as it is, but some of the dream cards have been nerfed and changed and buffed, so that's nice. The main one is you can't go, obviously, notably in the past, you've been able to get Dream, which is a 0 mana bounce sync to an owner's hand. Dream now only goes to enemies, so it's like a 0 mana sap. So you can't bounce Ysera infinitely to fill your hand up with like Nightmares, for example. So Ysera is still really good. So yeah, there's that. Deathwing is back, and he is looking good these days. Like, this is obviously keeping the same stats, 10 mana 12/12. He's obviously the destroyer, but now instead of destroying all, he's going to destroy. Instead of destroying all and discarding your hand, he's going to destroy all and discard a card for each. So he's still got that old flavor, but he's not like all in Deathwing anymore. You know, like Deathwing and your hand's gone and you're just top decking. It's like, you know, Deathwing, and you still got some things to do, which I think is a really nice change for Deathwing. And I think I can't see where it gets like sees playing Wild, but in Standard, like, it actually might be good enough for like control decks, for example. So I'm excited for the change for Standard, but Wild, I can't really see where it sees play. But that's all the legendaries, I think. So we're going to go and see if there's anything else I notably want to talk about. So this is the last new card, so we might as well just talk about it while we're here. It's a Fog Sail Freebooter. It's a 2 mana 2/2 pirate. If you have a weapon equipped, deal 2. Yeah, it's nice, it's cool, but I don't think you actually play this in like Pirate Warrior or Kingsbane. I don't think you've really run this. It'll be interesting to see whether you do, though. You know, maybe Rogue runs this with Shadow Step, which is kind of scary. But yeah, I can't. You know, it's kind of nice, but I don't think it's that good. Yeah, so generally, overall, in terms of neutrals, some nice changes and stuff. Some nice cards as well. I don't play much Standard, but they pick some cool ones. Yeah, but it's weird about this rush change. I wonder whether they're gonna keep them different in Wild. I don't know how it's working, honestly. I'll have to get more confirmation on that. But yeah, guys, that does bring us to the end of the video. I know it's been a long one. It's been like 30 minutes plus, but I really appreciate it. I do enjoy doing these kind of videos. And if you do too, let me know in the comments. Please do consider subscribing to the channel. I'm really trying to stick to those weekly updates, weekly uploads. So yeah, please do consider subscribing. Remember to like, comment, let me know all your thoughts. Are you excited for the core set? I hope you are, because I know I am. And guys, keep an eye on the channel as well, because obviously coming up very soon, we're going to start revealing some of the Barons as well, some cards from that set as well. So there's so much coming up and so little time, but that's cool. Thank you very much for watching. I've been Reese Gaming, and I'll catch you in the next one.